never imagined marriage would one day feel like a stranger's home. For years, I thought Emily and I were solid. We met in college, built a life brick by brick, and promised each other loyalty in a world that seemed determined to test us. We weren't perfect, no couple ever is, but we laughed more than we argued, and that felt like enough. Or at least it used to. The shift began quietly, the kind of change you can't put your finger on until it's too late. First, it was her late nights at work. Then it was her weekend girls' trips that somehow didn't include the friends I knew. She grew distant in small ways. Her smile felt thinner, her touch rarer, her laughter hollow. I kept telling myself it was stress, or maybe a phase. That's the thing about love. It makes you explain away the cracks until the whole wall caves in. The breaking point came on an ordinary Wednesday evening. I was at the kitchen counter, scrolling through emails when Emily walked in. She didn't look nervous. In fact, she seemed oddly composed, as if she'd been rehearsing her lines for weeks. "I need to tell you something," she said, placing her phone down like it was evidence. I looked up, bracing for something minor. Maybe she wanted to move jobs or take a solo vacation. What came out of her mouth shattered whatever illusions I had left. "I'm going away for the weekend," she said. Her voice didn't waver. "With Ryan." Ryan, her ex. The man she'd once sworn was a closed chapter, a mistake she'd never revisit. My blood ran cold, but outwardly I didn't flinch. She studied me, waiting for the explosion she must have predicted. But anger never came, not in the way she expected. Instead, silence stretched between us. The refrigerator hummed, the clock ticked, and my heartbeat steadied into something that felt calm. "Why?" I finally asked. My voice was even almost gentle. She blinked, maybe thrown off by my composure. "Because I need clarity," she said, crossing her arms like a shield. "I need to know if what I feel with him is still real, or if it's just nostalgia." That was the knife twist. Not just the betrayal itself, but the sheer audacity of her reasoning. She wanted permission to reopen an old wound, to test drive her past while keeping me as a safety net. I should have yelled. I should have demanded answers, cried, begged, anything. But instead, I found myself standing straighter, my breathing slowing. There's a strange kind of power in being calm when someone expects chaos. I met her eyes and said 2 words. Simple, final, impossible for her to misinterpret. "Do it." Her lips parted slightly. "What? Do it?" I repeated, firmer this time. Not approval, not support. Just a cold acceptance that cut deeper than any argument ever could. She wanted me to fight, to plead, to give her the drama that would justify her decision. But I gave her nothing. Only those 2 words, delivered with a calm she couldn't shake. The rest of the night was a blur. She tried to probe, tossing out accusations to bait me. "You don't even care, do you? You're not even fighting for me." I stayed quiet. I cleaned the dishes. I answered emails. The calm wasn't fake. It was real, born from a sudden clarity that the woman in front of me wasn't the Emily I married. Later, when she went to pack her bag, I sat in the living room, staring at the family photos on the wall. Our wedding picture, framed smiles that now felt like ghosts. I thought about the years we spent building this life, the sacrifices, the trust. And yet, in that moment, it all seemed disposable to her. A placeholder until she chased whatever fantasy Ryan represented. But here's the thing. While she thought she held the power, she didn't realize those 2 words had shifted everything. Not for her, but for me. Because do it wasn't surrender. It was strategy. The weekend came faster than I expected. Emily didn't try to hide it. She packed openly, almost defiantly, moving around the bedroom with a kind of restless energy. Every zipper of her suitcase sounded like a warning bell, but I didn't react. I watched quietly from the doorway, my face unreadable. "You're really not going to say anything?" she snapped, folding clothes with more force than necessary. "I already did," I answered calmly. Those 2 words had already carved a canyon between us, and she could feel it. She wanted anger, wanted me to make a scene so she could feel justified. But instead, she got stillness. That was the one thing she couldn't fight. Silence has a way of being louder than screams. When she finally left, suitcase in hand, I didn't chase her. I didn't call. I didn't send a single text. I let the absence speak for itself. The first night without her, I sat in our living room, sipping whiskey, and replayed our marriage like a movie. The laughter, the road trips, the quiet mornings with coffee. Then the distance, the excuses, the late nights, the lies. Somewhere along the way, love had turned into duty, and duty into resentment. By the second day, something inside me shifted. I cleaned the house, put her framed photos in a box, and placed it neatly in the garage. Not out of spite, but out of clarity. She had chosen her test. I was choosing mine. On the third night, she came home. I heard the door unlock, the hesitant shuffle of her steps. When she walked in, her face told the story before her mouth did. She looked tired, drained, like someone who had gone searching for treasure and found only dust. "Ryan isn't who I thought he was," she said, her voice low, almost ashamed. "I made a mistake. I didn't move from the armchair. That happens." She blinked, taken aback by my neutrality. "That's it? That's all you have to say?" I set down my glass and looked her straight in the eye. "No, Emily, that's not all." Her shoulders tensed. For the first time in years, I had her full attention. "I told you to do it," I said slowly, "because I wanted you to see for yourself what I've known for months, that you don't respect this marriage. You don't respect me. And once respect is gone, love doesn't survive." She opened her mouth to argue, but nothing came out. My calmness disarmed her in a way shouting never could. "You left," I continued. "That was your choice. And while you were gone, I realized something. I don't need to wait for you to come back in order to move on. My life doesn't end because you wanted to play with your past." Her eyes welled up, but I didn't soften. "I'm filing for divorce tomorrow. I've already spoken to an attorney." The words landed like a verdict. She staggered back slightly, as though I'd struck her. "You can't be serious." "I'm very serious." My tone was even deliberate. "You wanted clarity? So did I. And now I have it." For the first time, Emily was the one left in silence. She'd gambled on my weakness, bet that I'd fight to keep her. Instead, I gave her nothing, and that nothing was stronger than anything I could have said. She left the room in tears, but I didn't follow. I let her sit with the weight of her choices, the reality that my calm 2 words had unraveled the safety net she thought she had. In the days that followed, I carried on with my life, met friends for dinner, went to the gym, focused on work. Every step reminded me that freedom doesn't always come with fire. Sometimes, it comes with a whisper. And when people ask me how my marriage ended, I don't give them a long story. I just tell them the truth. My wife said she was going away with her ex, and with 2 calm words, I let her. Do it. The rest took care of itself.